In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the best text editor. Stay tuned. Now, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and click on the subscribe down below, and don't forget to click on the bell icon so you can see more content like this and be notified. So let's go ahead and talk about text editors. So just a gist of what a text editor is that when you are coding, you actually need some sort of a program to help you code a little bit more. Technically, you can do an echo and then into a file if you wanted to. That's only good if you're echoing one line at a time. If you want multiple lines, which is what most projects are, then you actually need another program to do that. And let me show you. So here is just a small HTML project. And as you can see here, if I were to echo this out, it would take 33 times for me to echo out this small program. And yes, that is technical, but it's not really practical. So that is why you need some sort of a text editor instead of just echoing it out inside of your terminal. So if you want to use the best text editor, my answer to that question is that you should use whatever is most efficient and the most comfortable with. That's the best text editor. If you're more efficient in a text editor more than another one, then you should stick to that one. The other thing is that if you have a text editor that your work uses or your class or your bootcamp uses, I would actually transition over to that text editor. That way, instead of focusing on learning what the transition between the text editors of what the command is in this one versus that one, you can just focus on learning itself. So that is why I recommend for the best text editor that you can use is whatever makes you most efficient and whatever everyone else is using in your environment. Now, if you don't have a text editor, I do have some in place for you so you can check them out. These are text editors that I personally use, and I have some opinions and some ideas about them. There are a bunch of more text editors out there, but these are the ones that I have experience with and give you some feedback on. So the first one I'll be talking about is something that's already built in, and there's actually two of them. The first one is called Vim. Right off of the bat, you are thrown into the Vim text editor. And you can now open up your files and do anything inside of Vim like you would with a normal text editor. And that's a really cool thing. The only thing is that it is in the terminal, right? So whatever you do in the terminal, you have to open this up into a new tab for you to use this. And inside of the terminal, you can't use your mouse. And that is one of the drawbacks of these kinds of text editor is that you're not able to use a mouse and you have to learn some keyboard shortcuts to navigate around inside of the text editor. That's one of the drawbacks, but the really cool thing about this is it's already built in and it's inside of your terminal. If you're really efficient with Vim and text terminals like this one, then you can navigate in and out no problem. It's actually much more efficient and faster if you are using Vim like this. Now the next text editor is very similar to Vim, and that is called Nano. And Nano, it has the same drawbacks and capabilities as Vim. It's just a different text editor that comes pre-built inside of your machine. And again, there are some different keyboard shortcuts for you instead of using a mouse. So that is what Nano is. And with all these text editors in your terminal, you can be super efficient with them if you are able to master them. Yes, it is a bit of a learning curve, but after you go over all those learning curves and begin to master those techniques, then you can really utilize this text editor to work for you, not for you to work for it. And that's one of the main reasons of why some developers, they use Nano or Vim is because they can do it all in the terminal instead of opening up a bunch of programs and going back and forth between the programs. So that is what Nano and Vim is terminal-based text editors. Now let's go into some other text editors that you would have to download in order for you to use them. And with these types of text editors, it really depends on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to make, what you're working with. If you are working with just Java or C++, those types of languages that you learn in computer science, then Eclipse and Notepad.js is probably the best bet for you because of those capabilities. They're really plain and simple and they really get the job done. One of the main reasons of why people use these types of text editors, mostly Eclipse, is that they have a lot of documentations and tools that you can use with them. And that's one of the main things that you need with those languages is that it executes on the machine, then this can help you do that for you. And they have a lot of debugging methods here with you, as well as other plugins that you can use if you are using them. So that is Eclipse and Notepad++. And the really downside for these ones is that when you're working with anything other than those types of languages, like if you're making websites or games, they kind of limit you to what they have, and you might have to install third-party plugins or libraries for you to use them. And the other thing is it's not very customizable when you are using them. There is ways you can download third parties, but nothing already built in. So those are for those specific types of languages there. But to get into something more broad is these 4 text editors here. And these actually work for multiple types of languages too. And those other ones would work as well, but it isn't as efficient as these 4 text editors here. So Bracket is actually one of my first ever text editor that I worked with. And it's really cool. One of the main reasons was I was making websites. I was making web pages. And the main thing about web pages is that you need to live view your code as you're developing. And that's something already built in, is that it comes with a live previewer inside of the text editor, which is awesome. The thing is about this is if you have more complex web applications like inside of Rails, React, Node, PHP, it might not load just as significant as just a regular HTML file. So that's one of the drawbacks to it. And it's a really slick design. It has a lot of plugins and all of the other features that other text editors could have as well. But I actually transitioned from Brackets into Subline and Atom. So Atom and Subline, they're probably the most used one here in Silicon Slopes. I'll start off with Subline because of how they look. And it's very customizable with their themes. So they come a lot pre-built themes and styles that you can use. And I really like the design of Sublime, where you can see a live preview of where your code is. You can also see all your folders and the text window here. It doesn't have a live previewer, but that is a plugin you can use. And the one thing that I really like about Sublime is that I really like the keyboard shortcuts. These are the keyboard shortcuts that you can use just to have you quickly press a few buttons and you're able to do a few types of things, such as selecting a bunch of lines of code at once, changing multiple lines of code, things like that. So you're really using it at your advantage when you are using Sublime. The main reasons why I stopped using Sublime is because when you download the free version, there's both paid and the free version. There's always a little pop-up that pops up saying that you can utilize this to the best of your capabilities if you pay. And there's no way you can turn that off unless you pay. And for me, I didn't make that much money back then, so I wasn't able to pay for Sublime back then. And that little window finally got annoying and I stopped using them. Then I switched over to Atom. So Atom has a very similar feel and type with Sublime, but it doesn't have that annoying window that I talked about. And it comes with a lot of themes as well, and it looks very similar to Sublime itself. And it has the same keyboard shortcuts, it's just different keyboard shortcuts here and there with Atom. And it has a lot of cool built-in features, such as you can have GitHub inside of Atom if you're pushing things in. And you can see all of your autocompletes, because when you're typing the same word over and over again, words starts to look weird. So auto-completion is also a really cool thing, and it also auto-completes code as well, which is awesome. You can have multiple panels, which not a lot of text editor has, or it does, but it's not as smooth or efficient in all of them. And you can make it your own by customizing it, by changing the themes and all of that. So that is what Atom is. But the main one that I use now, and I've been using for a few years now, is something that was relatively new and the new hot thing at the time, and that is VS Code. And VS Code is one of the most used one here in Silicon Slopes. And you'll probably see it around a lot when you search up text editors, and it's actually made by Microsoft. And it has the same types of feel as Subline, Bracket, and Atom, with the little window here for your code, your terminal if you need it, a bunch of your files plugins in the previewer. But it also comes pre-built with a few things. The main thing that I use a lot is Emmet. And what Emmet is that you're able to type in a few lines of code, press enter, and you can have all of your code already pre-built out. And that's really cool. The other thing is that if you are coming from those other text editors like Atom or Sublimes, you can actually transition those keyboard shortcuts that you're used to into VS Code, which is a good transition from one text editor to another. And a lot of plugins are most up to date to them, and a lot of good documentation is good with this as well. And they're always updating their product, which is awesome, and you hear a lot of good things about them. I actually have a window open here of VS Code, and I'm going to show you around of all of the tools that it comes pre-built with. And with HTML, we'll go into HTML a little bit more. It's something that is very redundant. Like first glance, you have to open and close all your angle brackets and have to type all these things out. But the really cool thing is that I can do a bang or exclamation point and press tab. That is already pre-built for you with using Emmet. That's something pre-built when you first download it, which is awesome. The other thing is that there are ways you can change your styles and your themes. That doesn't go into the consideration when you're choosing a text editor, because you can do those features and those theme and customization in any text editor. So when you're looking for a specific theme, don't let that deter you from choosing the best text editor, because it should be something that should aid you, not be one of the sole solutions of why you chose it. It also comes with a debugging tool. And if you're using those types of languages that runs on your machine, this is a good tool for you to use. Something else that comes with it comes with its own terminal. So if you click on here, it has outputs, debugging consoles, and a terminal tab. So you can see here, I'm already changed directory inside of this terminal, and I can run any terminal commands in here already pre-built. And this is already, again, fresh out of the box inside of VS Code. And you can search for a bunch of files or keywords. This is the get tool that it comes with. And you can see a bunch of extensions that you have available to you to customize and help aid you in your development career. And that is one of the reasons why I like to use it. The look and feel of it looks really nice. I really like the side panels of what you have here, and also all of the features that comes just straight out of the box. So starting out, when you are just starting to develop, I would actually recommend VS Code if you don't have a text editor yet. But to be honest, I would have you test out a bunch of different text editor and see which one feels and comfortable with whatever program that you explore. And again, do your research and look at the web pages and see what other capabilities that one text editor has over the other. And don't take my word for it, just try it out for yourself. Well, that's the end of this video. If you like it, please go ahead and put a thumbs up below, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. See ya.